In television, after a point, you just become a machine. It's very robotic, unfortunately, because of time constraints.
Hello and welcome to Good Times. So joining us is a man who ruled the small screen, and now you're making your digital debut with Kaafir. So what was the experience like? Anything different from TV?
Very much different from TV. And television, we have always have time limitations. We work round the clock, and we always work against times because there's so much happening. The planning takes a backseat at some point of the other. The creative satisfaction after a point dips. But being a part of this time right now, where there's digital boom, you really get a lot of time to spend at the pre-production, at the pre-stage of the product. And when you're in the character, you just spend like 30, 40, 50 days maximum, and you're through with the project. So I think I really personally feel that right now, with the OTT platforms coming up and everything being digitized, this is the best time for any person to be related to the media industry.
And also here you are playing a lawyer who's defending a woman who's wrongly accused to be a militant. And it's also set in the valley. So what was the experience like? And you also grew up in Kashmir.
Yes, I did. I remember first time when I met the producer and he narrated me the script, and he showed me a clip of the female coming out of the jail. And when I saw the female, there was the board behind that, it said Rajouri jail. So I asked him, where is it set? Is it set in Valley? He said, yes, it's set in Valley. And so because I was born and brought up, I got great memories of my childhood over there, and spending all the good years in Valley. I was drawn subconsciously towards the script. And after which when I met the writers and the directors, I was just sold towards the script. Because I personally feel, every village, every state, every country have their own stories. But Kashmir being the conflicted area that it has been, they have some amazing, intense, and horrifying stories as well.
And also this movie is also in a way very topical, because on both sides of the border you have similar stories.
Yes.
And it's a human interest story where man-made borders have divided humanity. So what struck you about your character?
What struck me was the selflessness what these two people had, especially the character that I play of a journalist becoming a lawyer, Vedant Rathore. He is a selfless guy when he takes up this case of the female Kainaz, and he makes sure that she goes back home, because personally he believes that for any person it's very important to get the sense of belonging. If you don't have a sense of belonging, you really don't know where you're heading to. And personally, as Mohit, I have been in those shoes where the sense of belonging wasn't there for a very long time. So I made sure that Vedant did give due justice to Kainaz Akhtar, and she returned home.
So I mean, also this is a time when there is a lot of anti-sentiment across the borders, and this movie also comes around this. So how do you feel about a narrative like this? How is it going to be received?
Well, personally, I think we have achieved so far so good. Nothing has gone against it. I personally feel there will be elements which will make a noise. There will be people who won't really agree. But art always suffers. That it's been proven time and again. But Kaafir, when you finish the entire series, you will realize that this entire project is made out of. It has a lot of love. It has a lot of soul in it. It gives a message of humanity is my religion.
You come into Vedant's shoes after playing Captain Karan in Uri. So what was that transition like? Could you relate to, is there any similarity you found in both the characters, or were they very starkly different?
No, they were very, very different. They were very different. And they were completely opposite from Mohit. When I had to be Major Karan Kashyap, I realized that he was completely different, that I had to portray him as, and as Vedant is completely different. Karan Kashyap was a family man. He was a man of he would just take up he was a very friendly person. He was very outgoing, not shy, very out there. But Vedant is very reserved. He's carrying his own baggage. He's got his own issues and problems, and he's been let down by a lot of people in his life. Whereas Karan Kashyap was, I would describe him as an energy ball. So he was. So they were two separate characters.
And also talking about you, whenever anyone mentions you, I mean, despite the fact that you're doing so many different characters, it's the image of Mahadev. Has that ever left you, or do people still come and greet you and do namaste and Shivji aa gaye?
हाँ हाँ बिल्कुल they still do that. So I personally feel everybody has that connection with Lord Shiva, which has always been there since we had that calendar image. Everybody had that image in their house. I also had it, so I have a very different perception and a different relationship with Lord Shiva. So somewhere they are not going to let that go away. I think because it did spend a lot of time, around 3.5 4 years with them, and it's been consistently being shown in different languages and all across the globe. It's been translated in different languages. I don't think it's going to leave so soon.
And also, I mean, you'll always be associated as Mahadev, but now I hear that you're also going to be starring in Mrs. Serial Killer. Is that true?
Well, I cannot really speak much about that because it's not been officially announced. It will be officially announced by the concerned officials, by the producers and directors very soon. But yes, I have been working on a couple of projects right now, and they will make the right announcement.
True. So let's play a little game with you. So
Okay.
there is never, have, I ever.
Okay.
So we're going to ask you the question. You can turn around the thing.
Okay.
Have you ever lied about the reason why you reached the set late?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Have you ever fought with your girlfriend or partner over a role you have chosen?
I have.
Have you ever woken up one morning and taken off for a getaway and not informed anyone about it?
No, never.
Okay. Have you ever regretted a movie you have done?
Never.
Okay. Have you ever regretted turning down a role?
Yes, I have.
Have you praised a movie publicly that you personally hated?
I have. Yeah.
Okay, so what is this trend? Please tell us. Are you forced to praise films that one sees Twitter like, body hatke picture hai, but when you go and watch that movie, you're like, oh God, they endorsed it, but it's really not.
See, you can't really, so when you go for screening and when you go for movies, there are certain subjects which don't go well with you and you don't relate to them. But the makers and everybody has put in so much love into it, you can't really hurt them. So you have to kind of be a little more diplomatic, you kind of have to mince words and try and then make them understand, yeah, it was nice, we enjoyed, but it could have been better. So you have to kind of...
So then we will send you a personal message and ask you, ye dekhen ya na dekhen. So now let's play sticky situations. So you play the role of Karan Kashyap. What if you woke up as him one day and you realize Mohit Raina had become Karan Kashyap, like your screen character? What would you do?
Oh, I would be the happiest person in town. What would I do is, I would go on the border. Yeah. He was a major. I would go and fight.
And what if you woke up as Mahadev one day? What would you do? What is that one thing you would change in the world? Or anything that you
Can I make
do?
them two?
Yeah, fine.
I would change the education system in India and I would just eradicate and just borders.
Cool. What would you do if you learnt your lines and came on the set and just blanked out?
I would just make an excuse, or it's too hot, or I'm not feeling well, just give me 10 minutes. I would just make an excuse and go back till the time I'm fine.
Really? And despite the fact that everybody's waiting and call times?
Yeah. I won't take that long. I will just take like 5-10 minutes and I'll be back.
What is the most overrated thing about the film industry and the most underrated?
Well, underrated, everybody thinks that they don't work hard, they just get everything on the platter, and there's no pain or no hardship that everybody goes through. And overrated is that all the money that they earn comes to actors. That's not true at all.
Also, do you feel somewhere TV stars, vis-a-vis the film stars, don't get their due, despite the fact one sees a lot of talent on the small screen?
Yes, I think in past it has happened, but now I think because the platforms have changed, there are a lot of work happening. I think slowly times are also changing, and the makers and the producers are looking at the people at a very, very different perspective. It's not they're still looking at them as the typical television actor who because in television after a point you just become a machine. It's very robotic, unfortunately, because of time constraints. Yes, it used to happen, but I think now times are changing.
Okay, what would you do if PM Modi called you up and said he's coming over in 5 minutes to meet you?
What would I do? Arrange for blank papers and a pen.
And what would you do if social media vanished from the world one fine day?
I would be the happiest person on this world.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a social media person at all. I am more than happy. I'll be more than happy if it vanishes.
But I mean, what do you feel? Is it a bane? I mean, also at this time when you have all your colleagues putting up posts, what they're eating, what they're wearing, where they're going. I mean, how does one survive? Do you
Yeah,
sometimes feel
difficult. It's very difficult to come up to the expectations of the people and to maintain and to be competent and to do everything very different every time. It's very time consuming and it's very energy consuming. I think, yeah, I'm not personally a very social media friendly person.
So Mohit, like before we wrap up, what is it that you're looking forward to the most? Is it movies or is it, you think digital justice the way? Because actors seem to be getting a lot more to do on the digital space.
Well, as I said for the first thing in this interview is that I'm looking for good content.
Yeah.
Wherever it comes from, that is I'm going to just go and grab it from. It can be from any platform, any division, any person. Good content will always be the king, and script and content will always be the supreme power.
By seeing your physique and all, they'll always put you in that action zone, which is a genre that you really want to do.
Thriller. Yeah.
Maybe we'll see him in Mrs. Serial Killer. I think we just gave us the answer. Anyway, thank you for speaking to GoodTimes. What's your idea for GoodTimes?
GoodTimes is just taking a weekend off and going at a place with your loved ones and spending quality time and just enjoying nature.
Thank you so much and all the very best.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward to seeing you on the screen more often.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.